Hey, gang. Good evening to everybody. I've got a collared shirt on tonight and a wacky mustache because here at the Hockey Town Hangout podcast, we like to have a lot of fun and we mean all business. We're going to get into it tonight.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Hockey Town Hangout.
Brings it in, scores! Oh, his first NHL goal is a beauty!
The sickest Detroit Red Wings podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Hey, gang. Been a week since we last talked. Hope you've all been doing well. Tonight, I've got something a little different. It's going to be a solo show, just going solo by myself. So I've got a little play off of Good, Bad, and Ugly. I've got Ugly, Bad, Good, and Great. Let's start off with Ugly, and let's just get right into it. This podcast is not afraid to talk about the hard issues. And for Ugly, we're going to have to talk about the second pairing. Ben Sherratt and Jeff Petrie have, seriously just been one of, if not the worst pairings in all of hockey. I'd even take it a step further as to say, are they the worst second pairing in hockey? Now, both have had their moments. I'll give them that, but I am now at the point where he's getting the Jonathan Ericsson treatment from me. Anytime I see Jeff Petrie jump over the boards onto the ice, I am clenching. I am just shivering with fear. I know it was Halloween a week ago. That still gives me the absolute chills, and more so than any other scary movie that I watched recently. What was it? I got a couple interesting stats that I'm going to share later. Sherratt Petrie, I don't have anything that shows them being actually statistically the worst. That is just entirely the eye test by me. Now, obviously, we get a lot of engagements on Twitter. It seems like I'm not the only one that has that feeling. And overwhelmingly, everybody kind of gets that same uneasy feeling when Jeff Petrie is out there on the ice with Ben Sherratt. Gosh, I could really go into a lot on this. I want to leave the ugly short because we do have some good things to talk about here. 6-5-1 start here for the Wings, 12 games in. Let's quickly transition over to the bad. The Gustafsson and Rasmussen off-season signings. And I'll even throw Tarasenko in there too. All of the moves that we made over the summer, they kind of backfired. Gostisbehere left. He was definitely our most offensively inclined defenseman. He was the guy that ran the first power play and a source of a lot of offense from the back end that we haven't seen from the Red Wings in a really long time. Gustafsson got 2 years, $2 million. I think Rasmussen was like just over 4 for 4 years. And then I believe Tarasenko was like 2 for about 5, if I remember correctly. Gustafsson, he has like a 30% goals for rate according to like Evolving Hockey. That is not playable. That is not playable in today's day and age. He doesn't pass the eye test either. He's taking a lot of penalties. Granted, he played probably his best game as a Red Wing the last time we saw them play against Chicago. Gustafsson, he played really well. There was one goal where he was the puck transporter that brought it in and created the chance. So I got to give him credit for that. But for the most part, he has been dragging down this team throughout the first 12 games. I'm hoping that last night was hopefully the tale of different things to come. I'm hoping that with him locked up for 2 years, that he can, with time, settle into that role. Because it is a lot of responsibility running the first power play. I know that Mo Siders moved up to that, and I think with the big contract that makes sense. But Gustafson was brought in to help run a power play, and up to this point, he has not been as built. Rasmussen, now he's basically playing on the fourth line. We have a $4 million guy that just signed a $4 million contract for 4 years, playing on the fourth line. Now, granted, love me some Big Ras. He's definitely like a disruptor, defensively inclined, a shutdown guy, one of the guys you need to be a winner. I just don't know they have the guys around him to succeed. And I don't know that you can truthfully pay a fourth, we'll say third, possibly even second on his best day liner, $4 million. It's a tough pill to swallow, and I'm hoping that things can change for him as time moves on. But really kind of disappointed with Rasmussen's start to the season. He's been noticeably absent. Last one I want to touch on for the skater offseason signings is Vladimir Tarasenko. This one I'm feeling a little bit better about. Eye test for me on this one is he's coming close. Yes, he doesn't have the points. He doesn't have the counting stats to show 12 games in, but I'm pretty sure he's hit a post in each of the last couple games. Like, he is a sniper, and he's someone that as long as he has the puck on his stick, he's going to be in good shape to bury one in the back of the net. And those are the kind of guys that we do need. And I'm going to touch on it a little bit later. Depth scoring for this team is just of utmost importance. Got to find guys from outside the first line that can score and score on a consistent basis. Also for the bad, I'm going to be honest. I have this one as more of a tweener between the bad and the good, because while I currently think it's a bad, I think it can become a good going forwards. And that is the kind of new look third line with Berggren, Kasper, and Tarasenko. Now, I just touched on Tarasenko, hit a couple posts recently. Seems like he's been having some chances. I think those are eventually going to start going his way. Shooters like him, they're streaky. They don't stay down for the highs are high and the lows are low, and we're just going through one of those lows right now. The third line, Marco Kasper is +2 with 1 point. That is very encouraging to me. We know that he was billed as a two-way player, someone that is very defensively responsible, a high work ethic guy. That's picture perfect for what you want as your third line center. The three of them, they look really good. They seem like they really get down into the Kasper, especially really gets down into the dirty areas with Johnny Burgers and his silky mitts. I mean, he definitely can make all the passes. And when he's got a guy like Tarasenko out there, I think that's a very dangerous combination. And I think something that they can continue to grow on. And Kasper, he's in his 12th game, 13th coming up here, still continuing to get acclimated to the NHL. Going to continue to see him grow. I believe he's 21 years old. We're going to see that growth. And especially with Berggren too, he hasn't had a lot of games in the NHL. We still need to see exactly what Johnny Burgers is. And I will say, all those years, they talked about his defense and how it wasn't at an NHL level. I don't see that at all. I think that he is definitely one of the more defensively responsible, to the point where I think that he might even be too defensively responsible. I would love to see more offense out of Jonathan Berggren and see him take more chances, because his vision and his passing, it's definitely an asset that can be utilized. So that's bad transitioning into good. So we're going to go over to good at this point. Is Steve Yzerman a free agent goalie whisperer? I know back in the bad, we talked about the skater off-season signings and how they were not very good. But in the last two off-seasons, the Wings have signed a goalie for multiple years for less than $1 million. I mean, You talk about absolutely hitting the jackpot last season. Alex Lyon, dare I say, single-handedly saved the Wings' entire season by going on a heater for an entire 2 months. Granted, yes, he wound up running out of gas at the end of the season when they overworked him, but that's also the reason why they brought in Talbot. And the duo of those two has single-handedly kept the Red Wings afloat. I mean, yes, it was against the Blackhawks on Wednesday, a team that, in my opinion, the Wings absolutely should beat. They played really good hockey. Granted, they got outshot in typical Wings fashion, which is frustrating in its own right, but when your goalie's standing on top of their head the way that Talbot and Lyon have been for the first part of this season, whenever they play well, this team wins, and if they don't play well, they're not going to win. Steve and his goalie free agents, that has been the gold mine. The skaters is definitely where there's a lot more hesitation, and that brings up a different discussion for a later date about the Wings pro scouting department, but there need to be changes made. This is not the first time we're talking about bad skater signings. We've had that for each of the last couple of years. For every good signing we've had a couple bad ones. The goalies, whoever's doing the pro scouting for the goalies, is doing a fantastic job, and that is someone that is a prized asset that the Wings need to keep. Every single pro skater scout, they need to get rid of them and clean house. Enough about that, because I can go down a rabbit hole with that one. Next, for the good, Albert Johansson. He's been a third line player. He's been getting more time because of the trade of Olli Mata, which actually I'll pause for a second and touch on that, because I don't think we've really done much discussion about that. Olli Mata got traded for a third rounder. I mean, that is, I'm not going to sit here and call Steve Yzerman a wizard, but a third round pick for Olli Mata, I'm happy to get that. With the log jam that we had, and him probably, I mean, yes, he was our third best defenseman in my opinion. Really before Johansson's kind of taken off recently, but I think it was the right move because they have to try something different on the back end. Mata, he's a third pairing guy, and he's a third pairing guy on a playoff team, a team that's going where, for the most part, his talents weren't really being utilized here. So they didn't have a third round pick. No, I take that back. They have another third round pick. So let's see if Steve and the amateur scouting team can mine another gem from what is the draft process. Albert Johansson, since he started playing regularly, he's been one of the best Wings defensemen overall. Since he started in the lineup, I got the stat here. Highest goals for rating according to Evolving Hockey of any Wings defenseman. That's what I'm talking about. This is what is needed to happen for a while. And Albert Johansson's 24 years old. The fact that he's 24 years old and hasn't had regular time in the NHL is a problem within itself. Now that he's getting the playing time, this kid might be our new third best defenseman. If I was in position of the coach, he would have already been on the second pairing instead of Sherrod. Or, I mean, even Petrie. I mean, I think that's really a tough call on who, because Sherrod can play the offside. But I think that in a small sample size, with the Wings defense in the current state that it is, they have nothing to lose. Their last two defensive pairings are getting absolutely eaten up. Why wouldn't you throw Johansson up there and see if he has the chops for it? The two guys that are there now aren't cutting it. You might as well see what the guy has. So a really, really nice bright spot and surprise. It's funny what happens when the young kids actually get a chance to show what they're made of. And we're really seeing that with Albert Johansson. And I hope and I pray that Steve sees this and this gives him the warm and fuzzies to eventually play more young guys and take a Detroit Tigers approach. Don't get free agents to block the young guys. Let the young guys learn and grow and become stars. Because free agents, you already pretty much know what they are. And lastly, we're going to get to the great because we got to save the best for last, First line scoring. The first line scoring of your 2024-25 Red Wings team, an absolute juggernaut. They have as many points as the rest of the forward group combined. 3 players: Larkin, DeBrincat, Raymond. 3 of them, 33 points. The rest of the forward group, 33 points. Depth scoring. Wings got it in spades last year. As much as myself admittedly was not a big fan of David Perron, he still had like 10 to 15 goals every single year. He was still a steady presence in that way. We haven't found anybody secondary score. I take that back. Andrew Kopp has popped out of the woodwork, and I think he's got 7 points right now through 12 games. I will happily take that, but we need more than those 3 guys that I mentioned previously, Andrew Kopp and Patrick Kane. Other guys have to lift their game. JT Comfer has to lift his game. Tarasenko, that I mentioned previously, has to step up his game. The third line, as they continue to gel, we've been seeing positive things from them. They have to turn the corner and start turning these chances and these posts into tickling some twine and celebrating some goals, lighting the lamp, which is what we all want. Don't get me wrong. I love me a 2-1 hockey game like the Wings had against the Sabres. But you can't win that way all the time, especially when you're getting outshot. Alex Lyon and Cam Talbot are both in the top 20. Goals saved above average, involving hockey. They are arguably one of the best tandems in all of hockey. There's a lot of good things going for this team right now. There's a lot of bad things. It's up and it's down. I know, even me as a fan. Gosh, they play so well some nights, and then some nights they look like they do not know how to defend at an NHL level. I'm excited for the ride because I love the highs and the lows, but it would be nice if we could get more of like a baseline for this team, because it seems like it's a little all over the place. And granted, they're still fitting in some new guys and still continuing to switch around lines as well, figuring out who's good with who, and even the people that maybe aren't getting things moving up to this point, they're still giving them an opportunity to continue and build that chemistry, because at the end of the day, we're 12 games through an 82 game season. There is a lot of time left. I know I touched on ugly earlier. I kind of want to go back to that, because after reading that stat of 33 points for the first line and then 33 points for the rest of the skaters or rest of the forward group on the team, that's so bad. I mean, they are so reliant on their first line, and thank goodness our first line is humming at the rate that they have been. Like, gosh, against the Blackhawks, that Larkin goal, seeing him fire up the jets, I mean, he looks like an F-16 flying through the neutral zone there, going around everybody and doing his signature little pull it to his forehand quick shot. Just absolute beaut of a goal. And it's just a joy to watch every time. He has to continue to do that. I mean, our great captain Dylan Larkin is truthfully the straw that stirs the drink for this Red Wings team. It starts and it ends with him. We saw this last season when he was out with the injury, and our team outside of Raymond truly fell apart. It all starts and ends with our wonderful Michigan guy, Dylan Larkin. And it's just really good to see him in the top line humming, seeing Alex DeBrincat and even Raymond. Raymond's got a lot of assists right now. He's seeing the ice well. Yeah, he hasn't put the puck in the net. Not worried about him. Final thoughts for tonight. I believe coming up, they've got the Rangers here at Toronto, followed up by a back-to-back home against the Rangers, and then at Pittsburgh next Wednesday. 2 really big games here the next 2 nights. If they can steal a point, if they can continue to play competitive with the Rangers and improve upon their first 2 performances, I'll be happy. As a team that's still figuring it out against a team that won a President's Cup, went to the Eastern Conference Finals, and has that is their playoff tested, I think it's another watermark game. All right, these guys are the class of the league. Got to play your best, and you got to bring it for 60 minutes. Let's see what you got. And man, oh man, I can't wait to see how it ends. Gang, I want to thank you all for joining me here tonight. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you very much. This is Hockeytown Hangout.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Hockeytown Hangout on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.